From the Epoch Times, November 10th, 2020, by Peter Svab. Tens of thousands of ballots arrived before their sent date in Pennsylvania. Researcher. More than 100,000 absentee ballots in Pennsylvania have unlikely or impossible return dates, based on a researcher's analysis of the state's voter database. Over 51,000 ballots are marked as returned, just a day after they were sent out at extraordinary speed, given USPS delivery times. Nearly 35,000 were returned on the same day they were mailed out. Another more than 23,000 have an impossible return date, earlier than the sent date. More than 9,000 have no sent date. Pennsylvania's voter records are being scrutinized as President Donald Trump challenged the result of the presidential election in this and other states where his opponent, former Vice President Joe Biden, holds a tight lead. The Trump campaign is alleging invalid ballots have been counted for Democrats and valid ballots were thrown away for Republicans. The analysis of the publicly available data was conducted by a data researcher who wishes to remain anonymous and who submitted it first to the Chinese language edition of the Epoch Times. He said he consulted the matter with several USPS field engineers who said the return dates shown in the database are impossible. The data set made public by Pennsylvania's Secretary of State was last updated on November 10, 2020, and describes a current state of mail ballot requests for the 2020 general election. The data includes the mail and return dates. In Pennsylvania, voters have to request a ballot, which is then sent to them through USPS. The voter then fills out the ballot and sends it back via mail or brings it back in person. The process usually takes several days or even weeks, depending on the speed of delivery and response by the voter. This year, Pennsylvania also allowed voters to request, receive, mark, and cast your mail-in or absentee ballot all in one visit to your county election office or other designated location. That may explain the ballots with no sent date. They may have been received and cast in person. It could also explain the ballots with the same sent and returned date, but that appears to clash with the description of the database, which says that the sent date is the date the county confirmed the application to queue a ballot label to mail the ballot materials to the voter. If the ballot was received by the voter in person, there would have been no need for a mailing label. Since October 1st, the average time of delivery for first-class mail, including ballots, was 2.5 days, USPS said in an October 29th release. Impossible and improbable return dates indicate there's something wrong with either the database or the ballots. The office of Pennsylvania's Secretary of State didn't respond to requests for comment. In addition to the ballots described above, there were more than 43,000 ballots returned 2 days after being sent out, which is still remarkably quick, but still possible if the voter quickly delivered the ballot to an election office or a ballot drop box in person. The flagged ballots comprise close to 4% of all those issued by the state. According to the data analyzed by the researcher, at least 31 people who appear to be older than the oldest known person in the state returned ballots. They were all born between the years 1900 and 1907, based on the state's data. The oldest known person in the state is 113-year-old Ardith Groves. About 20 of the voters shared the birth date of January 1st, 1900. The date corresponds to an allegation in another state, Michigan, where a poll watcher said he saw poll operators adding people to the poll book just as they were counting their mail-in ballots, raising the concern that these voters weren't properly registered and thus eligible to vote. The operators input the names with fabricated birth dates, such as January 1st, 1900, according to a sworn affidavit by the poll watcher. Another analysis of the Pennsylvania data showed that the extremely old voters were mostly registered Democrats. Update. The article was updated with a source of the Michigan mail ballot data, additional information about the data, and mail in voting in the state, and ballot delivery time information with the USPS. Follow Peter on Twitter at PETRSVAB.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.